Northeast Project: The Absurd Struggle of the Huaxia, Unwittingly Assimilating into the Korean People. China's state-led historical endeavor, known as the Northeast Project, is a clear distortion of history that disregards objective facts and academic logic, attempting to incorporate the Hongshan Culture, Gojoseon, and Goguryeo into Chinese history is deeply paradoxical, given that these ancient civilizations share a completely different linguistic structure, cultural DNA, and historical trajectory. In effect, this claim is tantamount to declaring, "We are not Huaxia, we are Korean," thereby abandoning their own ethnic identity and acknowledging an unwitting assimilation into Korean heritage. Where, then, did human civilization truly begin? The genuine birthplace of human civilization lies near the Tian Shan Mountains and the Pamir Plateau. From this central hub, major human populations migrated in three primary directions: west, south, and east, shaping world civilization. First, the westward migration founded the Mesopotamian civilization, laying the groundwork for Western culture. However, continuous invasions and integration with other groups severed its language and state identity over time, leaving no modern nation or ethnic group to directly inherit that unbroken identity today. Second, the southward migration crossed the Hindu Kush Mountains to form the Indus Valley Civilization, establishing the foundation of Vedic culture and Indo-Aryan languages. Third, the eastward migration carried the lineage of the Baek-ui Kingdom and the Korean people, moving east from the Pamir Plateau and Tian Shan Mountains along the steppe routes. These populations settled in the western Liao River region and established the Baek-ui Kingdom, also known as the Hongshan Culture. This distinct identity evolved continuously through an unbroken lineage of blood, language, culture, and geography spanning from the Baek-ui Kingdom and Hongshan culture to Gojoseon, Buyo, Goguryeo, Baek-ui, Silla, Balhae, Unified Silla, Goguryeo, Joseon, the Korean Empire, and ultimately to modern South and North Korea. An examination of the northern tribes following the fall of Gojoseon makes this distinction even clearer. The Turkic peoples, historically known as the Göktürks, migrated west toward the Middle East. Today, Turkey remains the sole nation preserving that specific historical identity due to ancient steppe alliances, linguistic similarities within the Altaic sphere, and shared roots dating back to the Gojoseon era. Turkey still refers to Korea as a brother nation. In contrast, the Huns, historically linked to the Xiongnu, migrated toward northern Europe, triggering the migration period and contributing to the fall of the Western Roman Empire. However, as they were absorbed into local populations, no modern nation retains their distinct state identity today. Consequently, among the numerous groups that spread across Eurasia, from the Tian Shan region, only South Korea, North Korea, and Turkey have maintained their distinct cultural DNA and continuous statehood into the modern era. In particular, the Korean people in both South and North Korea stand as the sole inheritors, preserving the original Eastern migration lineage without interruption. Consider also the ruling class of Gojoseon and the priestly identity of the Korean people. The ruling class of the Baek-ui Kingdom and Gojoseon were the direct ancestors of modern Koreans. In that ancient theocratic society, they served as priest kings, known as Chang'an. The tradition of wearing white clothing, known as Baek-ui, symbolized the purity and sacredness of priests serving the heavens. This tradition persisted through Buyo, Goguryeo, and Samhan, continuing as a central part of Korean life well into the 1960s. When removing distortions from state-led projects and colonial historiography, an analysis of the dominant ethnic groups across various continental dynasties reveals their historical relationship with the Korean people. From 2027 BC to 1600 BC, the Xia and Shang dynasties were predominantly ruled by the Gui, an Eastern Yi group. This civilization served as the ancestral lineage of Confucius and belonged to the Eastern Yi culture. From 1046 BC to 256 BC, the Zhou dynasty was ruled by the Xioi, or Western Yi, originating as a tribe from the western borderlands. From 221 BC to 206 BC, the Qin dynasty was ruled by the Gui group within the Eastern influence sphere. From 206 BC to AD 220, the Han dynasty was governed by a dominant Central Plains group. From AD 581 to 907, the Sui and Tang dynasties were ruled by the Shanbei tribe and Shanbei Han mixed elites. Attempting to forcibly subjugate the eastern lineage, they launched major invasions against Goguryeo, but suffered decisive defeats. Ultimately, the Sui dynasty collapsed after just 38 years, and the Tang dynasty fell after 289 years, both failing to maintain rule beyond 3 centuries. From AD 916 to 1125, the Liao dynasty, established by the Khitan people who shared origins with Gojoseon tribes, refrained from directly conquering or dominating Goguryeo. From AD 1115 to 1234, the Jin dynasty, established by the Jurchens, recognized their ancestral lineage to Silla and Goguryeo, treating Goguryeo with diplomatic respect. From AD 1271 to 1368, the Yuan dynasty of the Mongol Empire possessed a clear understanding of ancient history. They elevated a Goguryeo woman to Empress Gi and granted Goguryeo elevated status as a royal son-in-law state, rather than attempting direct annexation. From AD 1368 to 1644, the Ming dynasty was heavily influenced by Wei and Goguryeo, descendants within the eastern sphere of influence. From AD 1616 to 1912, the Qing dynasty, founded by the Manchus formerly Jurchens, accounted for 30 to 50% of global GDP at its peak. Despite this immense economic power, the Qing did not attempt to conquer or erase Joseon, which they regarded as their ancestral origin. Seeking diplomatic legitimacy, they established formal, tributary and elder brother relations at Samjiando, and never invaded Joseon again. In contrast, the modern Chinese government, established in 1949 as a Huaxia-centric regime, has governed the region for less than 80 years, a remarkably short period in continental history. These historical facts highlight 3 fundamental contradictions in the Northeast Project. First, the brief history and assumption of authority by the Huaxia regime. The modern Chinese government has ruled the continent for less than 80 years. Even the Qing dynasty, which commanded up to half of world GDP, respected Joseon's sovereignty and heritage. For a regime with less than a century of rule to claim thousands of years of Eastern history, including the Beidou Kingdom, Gojoseon, and Goguryeo, based purely on modern economic status, is historically unfounded. Second, the clear incompatibility in language and cultural DNA. The Huaxia language follows a subject-verb-object SVO order, whereas the Korean people and the Hongshan culture lineage use a subject-object-verb SOV order. Furthermore, distinct cultural markers, such as ondal underfloor heating, horseback riding traditions, jade artifact design, and white clothing customs differ entirely from Central Plains traditions, making it impossible to frame Goguryeo as part of Huaxia history. Third, the reality of the Northeast Project represents an inadvertent abandonment of identity, attempting to absorb the Hongshan culture, Gojoseon, and Goguryeo civilizations with completely different linguistic and cultural roots amounts to an unintended admission of abandoning Huaxia identity in favor of Korean heritage, clamorously claiming an Eastern history of entirely different origin, ultimately exposes a profound historical paradox, an unwitting declaration of assimilation into the heritage of the Korean people. If you found this video informative, please like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. Thank you.